Today on CityCast Austin, we've got a treat for y'all. Now, it's already been a tough session for Texas Democrats at the state capitol. So fellow CityCast host Raheel Ramzanali sat down with Houston State Representative and House Democratic Caucus Chair Gene Wu to talk about his game plan. It's Tuesday, February 11th. I'm Nikki Devon, and this is what Austin's talking about.
Hey, Representative Wu, how are you? Good morning.
Good. How are you?
I'm doing all right. I want to start with a billion-dollar question, okay? Right out the gate, I know. Because Republicans want to use $1 billion in public tax money to subsidize private school tuition. It's one of Governor Greg Abbott's biggest priorities. Is there any way you and other Democrats can stop school vouchers?
Well, I mean, first of all, this is not a waiting for the Democrats to do something. This is a bipartisan effort to protect the state against vouchers. Fundamentally, I think even Republicans recognize that the concept of taking our hard-earned money, our tax dollars, and giving it to the wealthy so they can send their kids to private school doesn't make a whole lot of sense, right? It seems actually kind of contradictory to like the basic notions of common sense when it comes to spending money.
Now, it has been fought hard against, right? As you mentioned, it was a bipartisan effort to not have it pass last time. But it seems like this time all signs are pointing that it will pass, right? Like, what's the strategy here?
Look, again, the quote-unquote groundswell of support for vouchers is just astroturf coming from the freaking billionaires who are just trying to buy our state piece by piece. I mean, this is like basically just 4 billionaires who are pushing this because they have a fun, exciting experiment to see what would happen if we collapse the public school system. And so they're trying to push all these heavy things to private schools. And look, they say it's $1 billion, but I promise you it is not $1 billion. It is a lot more than $1 billion. They always fudge these numbers, but if you actually look at the qualifications and who's eligible for this stuff, this is going to end up in a $5, $6, $7 billion range. And it'll only grow from there.
Wait, how would it grow that much?
That billion is just their estimate. Well, we think there will only be X number of people if we set the criteria to this. But like every other state that has done this, every single state that has done this, the population that ends up using this ends up being far, far larger than they said it would. Because they might be able to pass $1 billion program, but they would be hard pressed to pass a $7 billion program. So what do? They just say, well, it's one, right? And if you say it's not one, it's actually more than that. They go, oh, no. We're saying it's one. Just trust us.
So if that does happen, what legal actions are available? Like that sounds...
Nothing. Yeah. It's too late by then. If we were concerned that it's going to cost a lot more than $1 billion, the time to deal with that is right now. Stop the bill. Don't let them pass the bill. The people of the state of Texas need to speak up because here's the thing. They're saying there's all this support from it. Every person I talk to back home says this is dumb as hell.
Yeah.
Right? Even Republicans who cut their teeth under Reagan say like, look, it is not fiscally conservative to take hard-earned tax dollars and give it to people who don't need it. Why would you take public tax dollars meant for public schools, meant to help the poor, and give it to people who don't need it and never asked for it? That makes no damn sense.
It doesn't.
Right? And it needs to be the people of this state who says enough. Our school system is on the verge of collapse. And that's not, I'm not being hyperbolic. Go talk to your school board members. Go talk to your school districts. Every school district in this state is looking at closing buildings right now, whether they'll admit it publicly or not. School system in the state of Texas is on the very edge of collapse right now at this moment.
Well, Representative Wood,
we're going to give more than $1 billion away?
Let me follow up with that because you said like residents need to speak up, Texans need to speak up. We have been. And it seems like Governor Abbott and others are saying, no, we're going to have it this way or that's it. Like there is no budging here when it comes to this because then they're going to censure, Republicans, and they're going to try to get their people in.
I know people have been speaking about it, but it's not enough. It needs to be people in the streets. Every parent who has a kid in school, if you care about your neighborhood school, you care about teachers, you care about the future of the state. I mean, there needs to be protests in every city in Texas. Every community that feels like it is wrong for their children to get a second-class education. It is wrong that we're sitting on a surplus that's bigger than other countries' GDPs, while at the same time, we're 44th in the nation. We're 44th in the nation in the richest country in the world. We're 44th. Why are we not in the streets?
Yeah.
Right? Why are there not people protesting in front of the governor's mansion?
I'm curious, do you think there are enough Republicans still to block it?
Yes. They need your courage, though. They need the courage of the people out there who know right from wrong, who knows that it is not give money to steal from the poor and give to the rich. There's people out there, Republican or Democrat or independent, it doesn't matter. There's people out there who know that is wrong.
It's, when you think about the low income definition as well, I was reading the Senate bill as proposed, and you look at how they define low income. It's a family making about 100,000 plus or less. Like, every time I tell people about this, Rep. Rue, it's that, hey, this is happening right now. Other parents, they aren't familiar with this, right? Like, they hear it, they don't know what exactly it is. It makes no sense. We speak up. We're not doing enough. It's frustrating as parents as well. Like, for me, I have a daughter in public education, and I've spoken up. I've emailed. I've done all that. And guess what? I feel helpless.
Look, I don't have the right, perfect answer for you and for anyone else who's listening and frustrated and tired. But being quiet, I know, is for sure not the answer. I don't know if our voices are enough, right? And I'm saddened as an American to say that. But if we don't try, if the people of the state don't speak up more, don't scream louder, don't go in the street and yell and kick and scream, this might be the last time we ever get to have that say.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how to give you the right answer, except we got to keep going. We got to keep pushing. We got to do more.
We are going to talk about immigration as well. But first, I want to ask you, you were just elected to lead the Texas House Democratic Caucus this session. And as I mentioned earlier, this is not an easy time to be a Democrat in Texas or the country.
No.
What's your game plan right now?
Game plan is to be smart. Game plan is to learn from our mistakes. The game plan is to recognize that we need to do better and then do better. There's no magic spell. There are no magic beans involved. This is going to take hard work. This is going to take Democrats being disciplined, being smart, and doing the things that we've always done, which is fight for the middle class, which is fight for everyday Americans who are just working themselves to the bone and not only not seeing any forward movement in their life, but a genuine sense that everything's going backwards. Unless you're a billionaire, unless you're just filthy, stinking rich, nothing's working out for people. And this is the thing. I've asked people this question time and time again. Can you look me in the eyes and promise me with 100% certainty that your children will have a better future than you did? And person after person says, no, I cannot promise my children that they will have a better future. And as Americans, as Texans, we should be incensed. We should be ashamed. We should be enraged that is our answer.
Because this is, again, it's a tough time, right? You've been dealt this hand.
Yeah.
There are fewer moderate Republicans, down 2 seats for Democrats now.
No, not just down 2 seats, not just down 2 seats. All estimations, a conservative estimation was we were going to pick up 4 or 5, and we went from plus 4 or 5 to -2.
Wow.
Right? It's a lot bigger than just -2 seats.
So what do you get done?
And
exactly, how do you fight for the middle class, and what exactly are you going to fight for?
And this is where it matters that Democrats come in both smart and disciplined in terms of us being able to represent our communities and do well for communities and make sure that the stuff that we need is taken care of, right? And you look at the way we did the rules, you look at the way we did the speaker's pick and everything else. What you will see is a Democratic coalition that is acting unified, that is acting smarter, that is making reasonable and intelligent decisions again and again and again. So at the highest level, you have to understand that there are a large number of Republicans. It has become a meme on the conservative side to get rid of Democratic chairs, because that as a symbol just drove people crazy. They couldn't stand the idea that Democrats had some role in the process, some power in the process, and they just incensed people. So Democrats knew that this was an issue that was going to come to a head, even with people who were more friendly to us and even people who were more ready to maintain the status quo of how the House works. Having no Democratic chairs is a huge change, and if I breaks the traditions that we've built on. But we will start a new tradition. The new tradition is that there are no Democratic chairs, but there are Democratic vice chairs. And the Democratic vice chairs actually have power. And so while on the outside it looks like Democrats got rolled, in reality, Democrats made the best of a situation and, depending on how things go, actually might do quite well.
There's no place like Texas, except when it comes to skiing. We know you're heading to seek snowier pastures this winter. Before you leave, grab one last taste of the real Texas in Amarillo. Hike, ride, or roll your way through the beauty of Palo Duro Canyon, the second largest canyon in the U.S., while your legs still feel fresh. Carbo load with that last taste of glorious Tex-Mex before you pivot to warm soups and chalet charcuterie. Or sneak into a speakeasy and enjoy a well-crafted cocktail before those shot skis get passed around. Amarillo is quirky and wild, Western, and spontaneous. You can spray paint a Cadillac, cruise Route 66, or find a cowgirl hat to complete the outfit that's been missing something. Whether we catch you on the way there or the way back, we can't wait to hear your stories and pour you a drink. The mountains may be calling, but Amarillo will make you proud to call Texas home. Visit Amarillo and après-ski into the real Texas.
Affordability has been very, very big for Houstonians and Texans in general, including me.
Absolutely.
Right? I've been complaining about my home insurance prices skyrocketing. The general cost of living is going up.
Yeah.
Party politics, everything aside, what is being done this session to help Houstonians and Texans out with affordability?
The affordability question is huge. And I don't think necessarily I think some Republicans are starting to see how big of a monster this thing is. And I don't think they see it quite yet because they don't have as many people who live in apartments. As considering that my district is about 85+% apartments, renters. And most of the other districts are well below 50%. So I hear it from my people constantly, right? Rent is still going up. Even after we gave all the landlords those tax breaks, that I said would not bring down rents, lo and behold, it did not bring down any rent. High housing prices plus a 6.5%, 7% interest rate means nobody's buying a house, right? But having a house is sort of like the entry point to the American dream. It's building up equity in something that you own, right? Like building your way into the middle class.
What can the ledge do about this?
A lot, if they had the political will to do it. We're sitting on a massive surplus. Great for one-time investments. Guess what? The state could easily come in and say, hey, we're going to provide low-interest loans for housing. If you're going to build housing and you're going to guarantee that it'll be affordable, well, you can borrow money from us. Easy stuff. There's a lot that can be done by the state to have an immediate impact on on housing stuff, right? But instead of looking at those kind of expenditures, a lot of those stuff is like, well, we're going to get rid of regulation on home builders. They say, well, it's a regulatory burden. It's like, well, how much of the price of a home is the regulations? Probably not more than like a 1 or 2%, if even that.
Yeah.
Right. But when we're talking about mass deportations right now, that's going to shoot home prices through the roof. Right. Those employees are not going to work.
And I'm glad you brought up immigration, right? Because since the inauguration and President Trump signing his executive orders to crack down on immigration, I personally feel like Democrats here in Houston have been very quiet. Why is that?
Look, I can't speak for everybody, but I mean, here in the House Democratic Caucus, we've been trying to provide guidance to the community. Our number one priority is to making sure that the community is educated about what to do, what their rights are, and how to protect themselves, right? And we've been doing videos in how to do that in like every language. Are we out there stomping and screaming? Probably not as much. Because one, that's not helpful at this moment, because what's been asked of us is to help tell other people what to do and how to help. And, and there will be other times that it's right to scream and stomp. And I think that time is coming. But a lot of those are being organized by the community, right? What is important to note, and I think what the Republicans will be at their own peril to miss, is that the cries of anguish about this are not just coming from the undocumented communities.
I'm not fear-mongering here, and I'm asking this from a true place of sincerity. I have a fear that Governor Abbott has been so pro-Trump and doing anything to help with immigration, with the border. I have a fear that what if he opens up schools to ICE, right?
I think they're already doing that.
And says, yes, let's do it. What can we do?
Again, this is not going to be just up to Democrats who are here. I mean, like, people are looking at us like we're going to come in, fly in with our capes and come save the day. Like, we don't have the ability. You guys voted us out of power, right?
Yeah.
What's ultimately going to change this are the people of the state of Texas. Like, if you don't think that this is the way our society should be, if you don't think this is what it means to be American, if you don't think that this is the right thing to do, get off your ass. Go out and do something. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your friends, form up groups, get together an email group, start talking about this in a group and say, like, what can we do? What should we do? Let's start organizing our local neighborhood. Start organizing your district, start organizing your city, right? This is not going to stop until people demand that it stop.
Is there other advice that you have for local Democrats in Houston that could better connect them to the communities?
I mean, what we're telling all Democrats is, first of all, acknowledge that what we did in the past wasn't really good. Like, it wasn't right? We could do better. Acknowledge that we can do better, but then let's do better. And doing better is, let's start going back to our people, going back to their communities, talking to them about what they actually need, and talking to them about how to fix the things that actually make their lives better. Look, Democrats are going to be focused on your wages, on making sure that we raise the minimum wage, that we make sure that people are paid what they're supposed to be paid, making sure that teachers get their proper salaries, and the police officers and firefighters and people who serve us get taken care of, right? It's making sure that we have access to health care. It's making sure we have investments in all those things that in the wealthiest country in the world, we shouldn't have people who are just barely hanging on. We should start taking care of average everyday workers and not just the billionaires who come up here and spend millions and millions of dollars to get whatever the hell they want. And we got to keep talking about those and not get distracted by stupid social issues that the Republicans always dangle in front of us. They get us to chase things like banning books, banning drag shows, banning this, banning that. We're not going to fall for it. The only question I have for them when they bring those things forward is, how does this raise wages? How does this help lower the cost of my insurance? How does this put food on my table? Because if it doesn't fix those things, get out of here. We're not interested.
Do you think that was one of the biggest failures previously by the Democrats?
Yes. That we were constantly being distracted and chasing after things like a cat going after a laser pointer, right? and we would pounce on it and it would disappear, and then a whole new thing would pop up somewhere else, and we go chase after that. And by the end of the day, we've like, what did we accomplish? The same thing as the cat. Absolutely nothing.
It is Lunar New Year, and I saw that you
Hey,
and your wife, Maya Shea, of course, fellow journalist in town,
yeah.
threw a big party
Well, you
now.
should come next time. Come on.
Well, hey, the invite got lost in the mail for this
Okay,
one,
well, we'll make sure.
It's all good. Next year, for sure. But, spaces like that, it's really important, right? To bring together
Yeah.
Dems, Republicans,
Yes.
people who might not agree with you in a space like that where you can talk and hear the other side. Like, is it that important for you?
No, absolutely. And it's not just about that sort of sense of camaraderie and like a sense of normality, but we have a secondary, maybe like a sinister motive in it, in that I think by doing this, we help spread an acceptance for Asian culture, right? And that's important to me, because I grew up basically hating being Asian, like being embarrassed about my food and being embarrassed about myself, and like I don't want that future for my kids, and so like when we do these kind of events and it gets covered by the press, or lots of people show up and they post about it and say, oh, I saw line dancers for the first time and we tried this food, it was really amazing. Those kind of interactions are important because they help normalize Asian Americans to other people, right? And for Asian Americans, being seen as an alien is part of the racial stereotype against Asian Americans, is that, where we have the problem of being a perpetual alien. But if we help people understand that, hey, our culture, you can join in on our culture. It doesn't have to be exclusive. You can participate and join us. Then it becomes a lot less alien. And I think it's important that we do this for a lot of different groups and cultures. Right?
Yeah, I do it for mine. Me being a Pakistani immigrant, I moved
Yeah.
here when I was 5 years old, and Dr. Lalani, who's my representative
Yay.
actually out at Fort Bend, we always invite people to our Navros festivals. We invite people to other festivals, and it's just like, it is a celebration, of
Yes.
course, of our cultures, but it's also a celebration of this is what Texas is, and it's
Yes.
a reminder that this is who we are now.
And let me say this: last session, we had our very first inaugural Ramadan celebrations at the Capitol, like official Ramadan celebrations. And I thought it was spectacular and it was amazing. And Republicans and Democrats came out and supported it and thought it was wonderful. Guess what? Republicans end up using pictures from that to attack their fellow Republicans in their primaries, right? And I think I told people in response, you know what we should do? We should have an even bigger Ramadan party this year, right? Because I think our response to racism shouldn't just be to not be racist. Like, our response to racism we should be anti-racist. Like, we should go out and create acceptance. We should create tolerance.
I'll be there for the big party this year.
Come on down.
All right. Yeah, for sure. Representative Booth, thank you so much for taking time out. I know it's going to be a busy upcoming few months here. I appreciate you taking some time out and laying this all out for us.
Absolutely. Thanks for listening.
That's all for today here on CityCast Austin. If you enjoyed the show, why not tell a friend, rate the show, leave us a review, and subscribe to our Hey Austin newsletter. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye, y'all.